Hi, I'm Justin and welcome back to Just Shaves. For this video, I'm going to be doing a review and spotlight of two titanium razors. I'm going to be focusing on the timeless Ti68 and I'm going to be comparing against the Blackland Blackbird but with the Lite plate. I feel like in a lot of my recent videos I've talked a little bit more about the Blackbird than I have some other razors, so I'm actually going to focus on this timeless a little bit more, but the side-by-side shave is going to be comparing both razors. So real quickly, Blackland Blackbird, I have the Lite plate. Going with the milder base plate just because I think it's more comparable to this timeless with the .68 gap. This particular razor, they actually did not release the specs. However, it has a smaller blade gap and smaller blade exposure than the standard Blackbird. So less than .58 blade gap and less than a .101 blade exposure. And this one comes out to be about right around 54 grams. So again, on the lighter end, mainly just because of how sleek this design is. Onto the timeless 68. This is a razor that I had my eyes on for quite some time. I wasn't sure which of the blade gap options I wanted to go with. However, I stumbled into this one secondhand and thought it was a fantastic price and jumped on it, even though this wasn't the probably the blade gap configuration I would have chosen for myself. But nevertheless, this is the one I have. I'll be using it for this comparison. With the spiral handle, they have two titanium handle options. One's going to be this spiral handle, and then I actually also have their titanium crown handle as well, but this is the one that came with this. And in this configuration, this one comes out to be about 74 grams. So heftier than some of my other titanium razors, really just because of how thick this handle is. Hold them up side by side. Handle's maybe a little bit longer than the Blackbird, but it's also thicker. So that's where, the 20-gram difference is coming from. Still significantly lighter than stainless steel, but a little bit heavier. It has a little bit more heft to it than some of my other titanium razors. This is the .68 straight bar. Other options they include, they have a .68 and then a .95 or kind of their standard blade gaps. Those are available with straight bar, scalloped, which basically has the kind of the indentations where the open combs would be, and then also the open comb version, which is going to have a little bit more efficiency and also is going to be able to kind of navigate lather a little bit better than a straight bar version would. They also have this available in the slim plate, and the slim plate is basically uses the same top cap. It actually just has a shorter base plate, which is going to just kind of make for a slimmer profile and slightly tweak the angle a little bit. And John from Subtle Meat Steel actually let me borrow this this slim plate here, and I'll just kind of hold them up side by side. So very similar design, however it's shorter and a little bit more nimble. One of the funny tweaks I noticed with this is with this specific spiral handle. When I screwed it on with the slim plate, it actually didn't tighten all the way. Like I needed a separate nylon washer to be able to make it compress all the way to tighten it. It did work with some of their other handles, but I thought that was a kind of an odd quirk. Going back to this one, the .68 has a neutral blade exposure. If you opt for the slim plate, the blade gap goes down to .05. However, it also has a .05 blade exposure. So you lose a little bit of blade gap, gain a little bit of exposure. The .95 is the blade gap. It also has a .05 blade exposure. So this is really the most mild of their offerings. Although the slim plate has a smaller blade gap, I think it offsets it and adds a little bit of blade feel when they add that exposure to it. I have not tried their bronze offerings, but I also have this aluminum one as well. The aluminum, this is a .45 gap, and then it also has a .05 blade exposure. So comparing these two, I actually had a little bit more blade feel on the aluminum version personally, despite it having a smaller gap and being a little bit lighter. So I thought that was really interesting. And then the other thing I noticed is comparing against the slim plate, very close to the same blade gap and then very close to the same blade exposure. So the slim plate they offer in stainless steel, titanium, very close to their aluminum offering. So I thought that was really cool. Their top caps and handles are completely interchangeable. So I've heard of people kind of collecting the timeless razors in different metals and mix matching for their own uses. But, you know, holding up this aluminum one, they almost look like carbon copies. Like, this is the exact same top cap design. Base plate's obviously different, and then the handles also share some similarities. So these two razors, very close in my opinion. I think the .68 has a little bit less blade feel because of the neutral exposure. And then the aluminum one has a little bit more blade feel, but they're in the same ballpark. And that's kind of a quick flyover of the timeless razors. This titanium one, if you get up for a matte finish in a single base plate, you're looking at around $250 brand new. I think polished takes it up to around $300, and then adding on individual base plates, you're looking at around another $125. So one thing that's really great about timeless is they have so many options with the different base plates, both in the gap and exposure, but also for straight bar, open comb. One of the downsides I think with that is, you know, it might take a little trial and error to find the exact one for you. But again, options are generally better for the community. So, you know, no major complaints there. Fit, finish, absolutely fantastic. I think I'll pause right here. I'll get lathered up. I've been rambling on quite a bit about, you know, the specs and the different options with the timeless razors. Don't really feel the need to go as much into the Blackbird, but I will be doing a side-by-side comparison with these two. So again, light plate on the Blackbird, I'm gonna be using it on the right side of my head. And then the .68 gap timeless with the straight bar, I'm gonna be using it on the left side of my head. So I'll pause right here. I'll get lathered up. All right, I'm back and all lathered up. Have the Blackbird light plate, it's gonna be on the right side of my head, and then the timeless straight bar 68 is gonna be on the left side of my head. Have fresh Tweet Platinums loaded in both of these razors now. I was just gonna hold them up to just try to get a good side-by-side comparison of these. Both bend the blade pretty well. The timeless, the base plate design, I think just has better underneath support for the blade. However, there's really no chatter that comes from how the Blackbird's designed. The top cap really bends the blade, and then it extends out close enough to the edge of the blade where it doesn't quite need the same amount of underneath support. So, you know, no major takeaways from there. Design's actually obviously different, but one's not better than the other. Moving on to the blade tabs, the timeless has quite a bit of those blade tabs exposed. Enough that I'm not a fan of it as a head shaver. Blackbird has a little bit, but not enough where it's ever nicked me. The timeless, I just have to be a little bit more mindful of that part of the blade sticking out past the razor. But with that, I'm just gonna probably touch up my lather one time really quickly, and we'll jump right into it. Okay, I think we're good to go here. So I've talked about the Blackbird quite a bit. Most of the time I'm discussing the Blackbird, I'm focusing on their standard straight bar. The light plate is an interesting option though. It's standard Blackbird is on the more efficient side and can easily be too much razor for some people. So this light plate is a great option. For me, I think the standard straight bar kind of hits my sweet spot. It's like one of the most efficient razors that I own, but at the same time, it's soft enough on my skin that I can use it pretty often. And then this one is just kind of taking that safety and softness up to the next level. So really the only downside is my ending shaves aren't quite as close. But the rest of the shave characteristics are actually very similar to the standard Blackbird. Still a little bit of that drag suction effect just from how the top cap's designed and how much surface contact it has on your skin. But it works very well. Like whatever they did over at Blackland works very well. And then right out of the gates, this one glides a lot better. This is the timeless 68 now. Relatively the same amount of blade feel, but this one's just gliding better, just with the not having quite as much surface contact. And then the other main difference here is I can feel that 20-gram difference in the hand. This, while not feeling as hefty as a stainless steel razor, it's noticeably less nimble than the Blackbird is in my hand. But this is still just a very comfortable razor. Pause, relather the back of the head. So Blackbird's still on the right side. And again, the shaving characteristics of this Lite plate, very similar to the standard, just less blade feel. So a little bit of a vacuum suction effect, but it works very well. Like, it might leave it kind of leaves my hairs a little bit longer than the standard Blackbird does, but it doesn't miss anything as it's going either. And doubling back, I don't have any weird passes where the razor seemed to skip over my hairs or miss them entirely. And mild forgiving for this Ti68, and it's gliding pretty easily. Okay, so I'll pause right here. I'll get relathered and I'll be back with my second pass. All right, all lathered up for the second pass. Gonna open up with the Timeless 68 on the left side of my head. Just gonna start off with this go around. Yeah, again, this is just incredibly easy and comfortable. My main gripe with this razor is just that I feel like I have a few other more efficient options that also leave my skin feeling soft, and this one kind of leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of shave closeness for me personally. I likely would have been happier with that 0.95 gap, but you know, I found this one at such a great price that I felt like I just kind of had to try it. And then having used the 68, I'm not sure if I, want to pony up the 125 would be to try the 98. The 95. I'm still undecided on that. So very quick and easy second pass with the Timeless onto the Blackbird. And still have the back of my head to do with both razors, so I'm not quite done with the Timeless actually. And the Blackbird actually benefits from using just a little bit of pressure. Not a ton, but like enough to kind of replace what you're missing from the lightweight of it. So definitely compared to the stainless steel version of the Blackbird, you're going to want to use a little bit more pressure. But even compared to this Timeless, this is still 20 grams lighter. So this is a very light razor. Again, comes in at around 54 grams. A lot of aluminum razors are kind of in that 40-gram range. So this is really close to the weight of some aluminum razors out there. But again, very just easy to use, locks in the angle, doesn't take a lot of thinking. And it's, again, one of those really safe razors I can trust that no matter what I'm doing, it's not gonna nick or bite me. I'll pause, I'll relather the back of my head. If I had to shave with a blindfold on, this Blackbird Lite plate is probably one of those few razors I'd pick up. And I actually have done, I did a shower shave with this a few weeks ago. No mirror, no anything, and was able to leave my shower without any nicks or cuts. So, pretty impressed with how well this works, given its level of efficiency. So it's its efficiency is obviously less than the standard Blackbird, but even this milder version, it's in the almost medium category, and the safety is about as high as I could ask for. With the smaller gap, smaller exposure, it doesn't feel like it's going to bite you at any point. But moving on to the back of the head, I see I missed a spot. Back to the Timeless 68. Another just easy, forgiving razor. Onto the Blackbird for a final pass. The Blackbird kind of just feels like it's flicking hairs off of your skin. All right. So I'll rinse right here and I'll be back with my final thoughts. All right, back with my final thoughts. Overall shave closeness between the two razors, very close overall. Feels like the Timeless might have missed a couple spots, specifically around the curves of my head. Again, with the angle not being locked in, it's just easier to, not have it perfect as you're going, and it leaves just a little bit more hairs behind. Whereas Blackbird, again, just really easy to find that angle, and I think that accounted for that little bit extra shave closeness. Overall, both of these razors, for their given level of efficiency, perform quite well. For myself personally, neither of these are quite daily drivers. Just overall, I'd like having a little bit more shave closeness. But again, not at the expense of irritation. And what these ones do very well is I'm leaving my shave without a hint of any burns at all. So in a given week, I probably would turn to one of these like maybe once or twice, just following up on more aggressive shaves where I'm trying to minimize irritation as best I can. And what makes the Blackbird so great is that the standard plate with it is one of my best overall razors. Gives me one of the closest shaves, minimal shave irritation. And then because I already have that razor, now just having the light plate option gives me the availability to kind of tone the razor back even further and make sure I'm really prioritizing, not adding any burns or irritation onto my skin. So this, in my opinion, is absolutely a keeper. This particular razor, I think myself personally, I would have liked having the 95 a little bit more, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pull the trigger on it because I already have other options in the titanium space, both with the Blackbird that really is able to meet all my needs, and then I also have that Ollie-Works Meteorite in titanium, and I'm just not sure yet if I want to pull the trigger on getting another base plate on the Timeless because in the comparison, it's good. It works very well for me, but it's not my favorite. Like, I just have other razors that I personally like a little bit more, but it does work very well, and this probably would be a number of shavers out there favorite. So really nothing to fault with the design or the execution with this razor. I just had a couple of others that I think work better for me that I enjoy a little bit more. So more to come on this. I'm gonna keep doing some comparisons, maybe not on stream, but I will continue to consider whether or not I want to opt for another base plate. This .68 works very well for what it is, which is like a mild, comfortable, safety razor. Just for myself personally, I kind of left the shave wanting for a little bit more. So it's kind of up to me whether or not I want to decide to pull the trigger on an additional base plate for it. But overall, the .68 versus the light plate both executed their job of being, mild, comfortable safety razors. Again, not the closest shave, but both of them left me without any hints of irritation or burns, and both of them kind of got me to that same level of shave closeness. Despite this one having an extra 20 grams and This one having a very similar design to its really aggressive standard plate version. So with that, I think I'll pause right here and I'll see you guys on the next one. I'll call this one Job Well Done. Thank you guys.